So thank you so much for having us here to celebrate the Institute for Child Development's 15th year anniversary. And in addition to celebrating this great accomplishment, we are here to recognize the pioneering contributions of Dr. Krantz and Dr. McClanahan to the field of applied behavior analysis. Today, Dr. Gillis and I will be discussing the script fading procedure developed by Drs. Krantz and McClanahan and its effectiveness in teaching social interaction skills to individuals with autism. Okay, hold on. There you go. All right. A core deficit in individuals with autism is a deficit in social communication and interaction skills. When teaching social skills, it is critical that responding generalizes across untrained people, stimuli, and settings. The observation of generalization with social behavior indicates that stimuli relevant to the behavior have acquired the proper discriminative control. Script fading is an effective behavior analytic procedure that can be used to increase social interactions among people with autism. And the research has demonstrated generalized behavior change as a result of the script fading procedure. Today, we will be reviewing two of the studies that we have conducted in an effort to build upon the seminal script fading research conducted by Drs. Krantz and McClanahan. A script is defined as a written or audio taped word, phrase, or sentence that is presented as a model to teach conversation. As a child learns to reliably emit the script is faded from end to beginning. An unscripted initiation is defined as a statement that differs from the script by more than verb tense, conjunctions, articles, prepositions, or pronouns. Overall, the objective of this procedure is to observe an increase in the number of unscripted social interactions as the scripts are faded and ultimately removed. The first study that we would like to share is the effect of a script fading procedure on unscripted social initiations and novel utterances among young children with autism. The purpose of the study was to teach 3 young children with autism to emit social initiations to one another and to assess the novelty of their unscripted initiations. The participants included 2 young boys and 1 young girl with autism between the ages of 4 and 6 years old. All 3 children displayed deficits in peer initiation skills, and the research was conducted at the Institute during 45-minute sessions. For each session, each participant had their own plastic bin with 10 bagged pairs of animal toys. Of those 10 pairs of toys, 7 were designated for teaching, those that would be presented with scripts, and 3 were designated for stimulus generalization assessments, those that would never be presented with scripts. Scripts were statements about the toys such as, "These animals are cool," or "Toys are fun." Here is an example of what a given pair of animal toys might have looked like. Stimuli were presented in a simple Ziploc bag with identical animals inserted. If the toys were designated as a teaching set, then a voiceover recording device was included. A scripted initiation was a statement that matched the most recently played script on the voiceover recording device, with the exception that conjunctions, articles, prepositions, or pronouns could have been altered or deleted, or the peer's name could have been added. So for example, if the script was, "I play with lions," then the statement, "I play with the lions," would also have been scored as scripted. Or if the script was, "I like animals," then the statement, "You like animals," would still have been scored as scripted. An unscripted initiation was an initiation that differed from the scripts by more than conjunctions, articles, prepositions, pronouns, or changes in verb tense. So for example, if the script was, "Do you like lions?" and then the question, "Do you like tigers?" would have been scored as unscripted. And A novel initiation was initiation never before uttered by the participant throughout the study. For this study, we measured the number of scripted and unscripted initiations in the presence of toys presented with scripts, the number of unscripted initiations in the presence of toys that were not presented with scripts, as well as the number of novel initiations. Data were collected during 45-minute sessions, during which the participants followed a written activity schedule. The schedule included cues for academic tasks, as well as 10 opportunities to share toys with a peer. Instructors used manual prompts delivered from behind to teach the participant to obtain the toy bag, to take out the toys, to orient to a peer, and to give one of the toys to a peer. Once the toys were shared, they were provided an opportunity to play and interact with one another. During the baseline condition, scripts were not provided in any of the bags of toys. The occurrence of any initiations to peers in the presence of training stimuli was reinforced according to the participants' individualized motivational system. During the training condition, voiceover recording devices with pre-recorded scripts were added to 7 of the 10 bags of toys. Instructors again used manual prompts delivered from behind to teach the participants to push the voiceover recording device and to emit the pre-recorded script to a peer. Once a participant reliably emitted scripted initiations, scripts were faded from end to beginning, one word at a time, until blank. The final step was the removal of the recording device itself. And as in baseline, the occurrence of any initiations to peers in the presence of training stimuli was reinforced according to the participants' individualized motivational system. So here we have a sample of the scripts and fading sequences for one of our participants. You can see the full scripts in the first column, followed by the successive removal of one word at a time from the end of each script with each new fading step. Ultimately, all devices were fully removed. We did assess generalization across novel stimuli throughout the study, and as mentioned earlier, this was done by designating 3 of the 10 bags of toys as untrained stimuli with which scripts were never presented. When the participants shared these toys with their peers, initiations were not prompted nor reinforced. We used a multiple baseline across participants' experimental design to assess the effects of scripts and script fading on the number of initiations to peers and the effects of the script fading procedure on the cumulative number of novel utterances emitted. So we're now going to share with you some of the data that we received. This graph displays the number of scripted and unscripted initiations emitted across consecutive sessions for our 3 participants, Mary, Ian, and Aaron. The closed circles represent scripted initiations, and the open circles represent unscripted initiations. The horizontal criterion line represents the number of scripts presented within a given session, which was 7. Each of the numbered arrows denotes a different fading step, and you can see that during baseline, the 3 participants emitted few, if any, initiations to each other. Following the introduction of the scripts and script fading procedure, the number of unscripted initiations systematically increased across participants. These data show a functional relation between the script fading procedure and the number of initiations emitted to peers. And here we have the cumulative number of novel, unscripted initiations emitted across sessions for the 3 participants. We used a dashed vertical line to indicate the introduction of scripts and a solid vertical line to indicate when script fading was introduced. You could see that for Mary and Ian, prior to the introduction of script fading, the occurrence of novel initiations remained relatively low. For Aaron, prior to the introduction of script fading, Aaron emitted up to 9 initiations. Across all participants, when script fading began, we see a systematic increase in novel initiations. By the end of the study, Mary had emitted 41 novel initiations, Ian 58, and Aaron 46. Now, unfortunately, due to time constraints, we are not able to share with you our video at this time. Overall, this study demonstrates the effectiveness of the script fading procedure in teaching social. If we can go back to the presentation, please, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. This study demonstrates the effectiveness of the script fading procedure in teaching social initiations among 3 children with autism. There was a systematic increase in unscripted and novel language, as well as evidence of stimulus generalization. And I'm now going to share the screen with my colleague, Dr. Gillis.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. The second study that we would like to share with you is titled Script Fading for Children with Autism, Generalization of Social Initiation Skills from School to Home. The purpose of this study was to teach 3 children with autism to emit social initiations across various activities in the school setting, and also to assess generalization in the untrained home setting with a sibling. The participants included 3 boys with autism between the ages of 8 to 10 years old. All 3 had demonstrated deficits in social initiations to peers. The research was conducted at Nicely during a 15-minute session, and generalization assessments were conducted in each of the participants' homes with their typically developing sibling, whose ages ranged between 5 to 8 years old. Each session consisted of one of 3 activities, which included building Lego models, playing computer games, and eating lunch together. We included multiple exemplars of each activity. During training, 5 textual scripts were superimposed upon a given stimulus for the session, and the placement of the scripts varied each day. The scripts referred to the given activity and included statements such as, "I love this game," or "check out what I'm playing." Scripts were never present in the home setting where we were conducting the generalization assessments. So this is an example of the multiple exemplars of the Lego model building task. You can see that there are 6 different versions of the model, and one would be selected for a given session. This was also done for stimuli that were used during the computer games and lunch activities. The dependent variables in this study included scripted and unscripted initiations. A scripted initiation was defined in the same manner as in the previous study, in that it matched the textual script provided for the participants, with the exception of a few changes in parts of speech. So for example, if the script was, "I love this game," then the statement, "You love this game," would still be scored as scripted. As in the study that Dr. Venner just shared, an initiation was scored as unscripted when it differed from the script that was provided by more than those particular parts of speech. For example, if the script was, "I like this game," then the statement, "I love this game," would have been scored as unscripted. We measured the number of unscripted initiations emitted across each activity, and this was done both at school with peers, which were considered our training data, and also in the participant's home with a sibling, which were our generalization data. The participants engaged in all 3 activities once per school day, and each session was 15 minutes long. They followed their usual activity schedules, which contained cues to engage in the targeted activities with their peers. Throughout the study, the participants served as each other's peers for initiations. Instructors used manual prompts delivered from behind to teach appropriate engagement in the activity if needed. During the baseline condition, scripts were not superimposed to any of the stimuli, but reinforcement was available for the occurrence of any initiations. During the training condition, 5 textual scripts were superimposed upon the stimuli for a given activity. Instructors used manual guidance, again delivered from behind, to teach the participants to point to and to read the script while orienting to a peer. Script fading began for each activity when the participant reliably emitted the scripts that were provided. Scripts were faded by removing one word at a time from end to beginning of the script until all words were fully removed from the activity. Again, reinforcement was available for the occurrence of any initiations. This is an example of the computer activity with scripts superimposed. You can see the 5 different scripts in different locations on the computer, and these locations varied each day. The scripts included statements such as "computer games are so fun" and "check out what I'm playing." And this was done in a similar manner for the Lego model building activity and lunch activity. Here we have an example of the scripts and script fading steps across the 3 activities for one of our participants, Ollie. The first column contains the full scripts that were provided for each activity, and each of the following columns is the successive removal of one word at a time from end to beginning until all scripts were fully removed. During the generalization assessments, the participants engaged in the same activities as in school, but in each of their homes with a sibling. During these sessions, scripts were never superimposed to the stimuli, and reinforcement was not available for the occurrence of any initiations. We used the multiple baseline across activities experimental design to assess the effects of the script fading procedure on the number of unscripted initiations emitted across the 3 activities by each of the 3 participants, and on the number of initiations emitted in the untrained home setting with a sibling. So now we can run through the results that were obtained. This graph shows the number of unscripted initiations emitted across sessions by one participant, Ollie, for each of the 3 different activities. The closed circles display the number of unscripted initiations emitted in the school setting with peers, and the open triangles display the number of unscripted initiations emitted in the generalized home setting with a sibling. You can see that during the baseline condition, Ollie emitted few, if any, initiations in either the school or home settings, but with the introduction of the script fading procedure, you see a systematic increase in the number of unscripted initiations emitted across the activities in the school setting. Once the scripts were fully faded at school, which is denoted by the arrow, you can see that the initiations at home also show a systematic increase. Here we have the data for another participant, Ian, and you can see similar patterns of responding with that systematic change in initiating across settings as the script fading procedure was introduced. Lastly, these are the data for Aiden, for whom again we see a similar outcome in his initiating behavior. So now we'd like to share with you a video segment that just demonstrates the initiating behavior before and after training for one of our participants, Ollie. These are videos in his home setting only, which again we used to assess generalization. So video 2, please. So this is for the laptop activity, the computer games. Here we see Ollie in his home setting with his sister, and this is during the baseline condition. And you can see that he is not emitting initiations to his sister.
You're doing a good work. You're doing a good work. He made. Yeah. It's almost time. It's almost time for dinner.
Here again, we have baseline for the model building activity.
Turn off your
No initiation emitted.
microphone.
Lastly, this is baseline. Oh, this is the model building activity.
I'm doing orange fire. I'm doing fire. Firefighters to the rescue.
So you see some nice initiating behavior after scripts were faded at school.
Hey, did you get a letter in the mail?
And lastly, this is the baseline condition for the lunch activity. And after script fading had occurred in school.
Nice meeting you. Hey, you're a very good eater.
And back to the presentation, please. Thank you. So overall, we saw a functional relation between the script fading procedure and the number of unscripted initiations emitted by the 3 participants. The script fading procedure was an effective method for promoting the generalization of social initiations from school with peers to the untrained home setting with siblings. There's a great deal of research that demonstrates the success of the script fading procedure developed by Dr. Kranz and Dr. McClanahan. The systematic stimulus fading process increases the likelihood of the emergence of novel untrained interactions, and the superimposition of scripts to environmental stimuli facilitates the transfer of stimulus control to the natural context. Incorporating these common stimuli into other environments can produce generalization in untrained situations. This truly is an effective method that can impact the social skills development for those with autism. Thank you very much.